James Whitlock, a clockmaker, inherited an ornate grandfather clock from a distant relative. The clock was magnificent, its face adorned with golden numerals, and its pendulum carved with strange symbols. At first, James admired its craftsmanship, but he soon noticed odd occurrences. Each time the clock chimed, strange events unfolded. Objects in his shop moved on their own. Shadows darted across the walls, and faint whispers filled the air. One evening, James discovered a hidden compartment in the clock containing a letter. It warned him to destroy the clock before midnight, or he would face the same fate as its previous owners. As the clock struck 12, its chime echoed unnaturally loud, and the room filled with an oppressive darkness. The pendulum stopped, and a pair of glowing eyes appeared within the clock's face. The next morning, James' shop was empty, save for the clock, its hands frozen at midnight. While driving through the countryside, Emily stumbled upon a quaint village that wasn't on her map. The cobblestone streets and charming cottages seemed untouched by time, and the friendly townsfolk welcomed her warmly. They offered her a room at the inn, and insisted she stay for the harvest festival that evening. As night fell, Emily noticed something strange. None of the villagers cast shadows under the moonlight. When she questioned them, their smiles faded, and they urged her to leave before sunrise. But as she tried to leave, the streets became a maze, and the village seemed to stretch endlessly. At dawn, Emily woke in her car on an empty road. The village was gone, replaced by an overgrown field. In her pocket, she found a small wooden charm with the village's name carved into it, a name that no one else seemed to remember. Arthur, a bookbinder, was hired to restore a collection of ancient tomes for a private library. Among the books was a peculiar volume bound in human skin, its pages filled with names and dates. To his horror, Arthur discovered his own name listed, with a date set for the following week. As he worked late into the night, he noticed that the bookshelves seemed to shift and move, forming a labyrinth around him. Desperate to escape, Arthur tried to leave. But the library's doors had vanished. The air grew thick with whispers, and shadowy figures emerged from between the shelves, their hollow eyes fixed on him. As the date in the book approached, Arthur's name began to glow on the page. On the final night, the whispers turned into screams, and Arthur was pulled into the darkness. The next morning, the library was empty, and the bookbinder's tools lay abandoned on the floor.
Professor Adrian Bell, a music historian, was hired to restore the crumbling organ of an ancient cathedral. As he worked, he began to hear faint singing, an ethereal choir performing a haunting requiem. The locals warned him that the choir belonged to the dead, who sang to lure the living into their world. Dismissing their superstitions, Adrian stayed late to record the music. That night, the singing grew louder, filling the cathedral with unearthly harmonies. Shadows danced on the walls, and ghostly figures appeared in the pews, their faces pale and sorrowful. The organ began to play on its own, and Adrian felt an irresistible pull toward the choir. By morning, the cathedral was silent, and Adrian was gone. The only clue to his fate was a new note added to the requiem's sheet music. For Adrian, who joins us in eternity. In a drought-stricken village, the townsfolk uncovered an ancient well while digging for water. The well seemed bottomless, and from its depths came faint whispers promising water in exchange for a small sacrifice. Desperate, the villagers offered a lamb, and the next day, the well overflowed with fresh water. But the whispers grew louder, demanding more. Soon the sacrifices escalated, from livestock to the weakest among them. Each offering brought rain, but the whispers became a deafening chorus of torment. When the villagers tried to fill the well, the ground split open, revealing a chasm filled with writhing shadows. The remaining villagers fled, but the whispers followed them in their dreams, calling them back to the cursed well that had once saved them.